So what's up guys? It took me over 10 years to come up with this annoying and boring video because this video is about folder structures and naming conventions. I'm working, let's say, professionally for maybe 12 years now. I've went through a lot of companies, a lot of company structures. I've seen a lot of folder structures, a lot of naming conventions. Everyone does it how they think it's best for them. So all I can do is show you what I came up with over the years. I fine-tuned this folder structure and naming convention over the years. I can tell you if a folder structure is too complicated, you just don't use it or it annoys you, so you just ignore it. Mine is not like that. Mine is very simple. Mine can't be ignored. Why is folder structure so important? You have to archive all your work. You have to know what's new, what's old. What if a client wants something from a certain date or a certain update or a certain year? You have to be able to provide this file. You have to be able to send this file basically anytime, but also on an active project. I know that a lot of good 3D artists that I work with get confused with what's the newest file, what's the oldest file, especially when working in a team. So that's very, very bad, very, very critical. So a very, very important topic you need to do, you need to learn to work professionally, especially with big companies, especially in a team. Otherwise, you're a noob. So let's not stay a noob and let's move forward and let me show you the way of the folder. So we are in the greatest software on Windows PCs. It's the Explorer, ancient little piece of software. So let's build a clean, professional folder structure. First of all, you will name the first folder whatever your company is named. In my case, let's use Movil as an example. So you need to know what's even going on. What company? So if you have multiple brands, multiple companies, this is step one. This is not the step that you call Volkswagen or whatever. This is not the client. This is your brand. So let's move one step deep. Next, we will create a folder called Work. Here you could add multiple folders called add-ons or whatever. So things you collect here, you could create more. Use numbers, so it's always sorted, so it's always the same. So you can get used to it and always click right on the correct folder without having different orders every time. So you can fill this up as much as you want, however you want, but basically we will focus on work. Next, you will create the year. This I came up actually quite late because I didn't realize how much work would start collecting over the years and how much clients would start collecting over the years. So it's very, very important to sort your projects by year so you can always look back per year. So in here, there will be a new folder soon and so on and so forth. We are in 2022 now. Let's go in there. Next, quite interesting, we will call the first folder 00, sorry. So it's always at the top. In German, it's Vorlage, which means template. But for me, it's always called Vorlage. It's always funny when I work with people that are not German and I just tell them, just use the template, but they can't find it because it's called Vorlage. And they don't know what the hell Vorlage means, but it means template. Now everyone finally knows. In this folder, we will create the template. So the first folder, again, 00, in, very important folder, anything you receive from the client, anything you put into this folder, always. Emails, pictures, anything, drop it in there because I can't tell you how often I've sent people stuff that they've lost where they said, can you send it again? I know that I had the same issue years back. Clients sent something on WhatsApp, I lost it. Yeah, there's no reason to lose anything. Anytime you get anything through WhatsApp, through email, through whatever weird platforms clients use, drop it into in. You could even drop a briefing into in, really anything. Okay, let's move forward. The next folder, the most important folders of all. is the Blender folder. If you are looking forward to use Maya, 3ds Max, or any other 3D software, this won't work with this folder structure, unfortunately. No, of course it would. Let's call it Blender. In this Blender folder, you're gonna drop Blender files. What are these Blender files gonna be named? Let's do that in the next step. Let's go back. Let's make another folder. We're gonna call it render because typically we will be rendering in Blender and there should be a certain special place for that. Next, we will create a folder 03 and we call it out. So you see, everything comes in, you edit it, everything comes out. So anytime you deliver something, it's in out. I will not explain right now what to put here. Let's go back because now we created the template. This you need. Look at it, memorize it. Movable work 2022 template in Blender render out. Straightforward, simple, right to the point. Now you are a very successful, popular freelancer or employee, or I don't know what you are, company owner. You just received a project. Damien Matthew contacted you and said, can you please create an animation for me? Okay, what do? You take the template folder, Control C, Control V. You made a copy of the template folder. How will you name this folder? You will call it Damien Matthew, or in this case, let's call it Movable, but might confuse you. Let's call it Damien Matthew. So I booked you to create a animation. Underscore the project. What animation is it? I really want you to animate my empty coffee cup. So let's call it coffee cup. When working with big companies, they will provide you with an official project name. You can also use that. That is it. If you want, you could also add animation. So you know, this is for the company Damien Matthew. This is the coffee cup, and this is the animation. Because let's say you also made stills for the coffee cup. Sometimes it's better to have separate folders. Sometimes you just don't write stills or animation, keep it in one. And also, let's say Damien Matthew also wants you to render whatever, I don't know, my hat. So this is the hat project. So now you can easily sort all the projects by Damien Matthew. And also this is good to quickly see what clients you worked for in 2022. Maybe you want to recontact the clients in 2023. So here I have a perfect list where you see what projects, what clients. Okay, how are we actually going to work in this folder? We go into the input. Here I send you stuff, photos of this cup. Here you can screenshot it. This is the photo. Drop it right into this folder. In Blender, you want to create a Blender file. This Blender file, I'll just make a text file for now, will be called OO_ Damien Matthew _ coffee cup _ animation. That's it. .blend, you know, I guess I'll break the file if I call it .blend. No, it actually worked. That's the file. Now, it's very important to have many files, many versions. The more, oops, not 10, the more, the better. So every time basically you send the client something or something kind of majorly changes, make a new blend file. The more, the better. Don't save on blend files. The next thing is, in this folder, there's going to be two folders. One very important folder, this one you can use in any of the folders, is called old. So anything, because this will really collect and you will kind of lose track on where is what, just drop the old stuff in the old folder. Another thing you can do, so when working in teams, so let's say I was on the O2 file is the newest, and I was doing stuff and we're like 4 or 5 people. And then someone comes to me and he is confused on what happened in that file, who worked on this file, what is this, maybe something broke, whose fault is it, who can I ask? So if you're working in bigger teams, you can do _DM. So this file can be multiplied to I did something and AB did something. So you can always mark the file who worked init last, and you can always have your end name, and this can kind of change throughout the versions, throughout the files. So in a team, you always know who worked on this file last. I and we rarely use this, but still I think we should, because there are a lot of moments where I'm confused on who worked on the file last. So this is maybe getting too detailed, but yeah, just so you've seen it, that this is a possible way to do it. Another thing you can do is, I wish I could call it O1 text, but I know that Blender default-wise unpacks into the texture folder. That's why I call it texture and not O1 text, even though I would like to, but workflow-wise, it's better to just call it texture. So you can always unpack all textures here, so you don't lose any textures. When you render, basically also it's important to have versions. I can't believe how often I still see this, but never call something new, never call something final, never call something anything else than numbers. Always use numbers. Also another thing on the blend files, so if I test something on O2 that I know is likely to be deleted, I do _temp. That's how I make this. So I know I can test stuff and maybe delete it again. Now you've seen it. Also another thing, I'll just show you how I do it. There's also a scenario you're most likely not gonna encounter. Link file, or actually recently we always called it link. So if you want to link anything into something, it's very important to mark the link file, because so often we worked in projects and there was stuff linked and people didn't know where the hell this file is coming from. So very important, anytime you link something from somewhere, call it link. Otherwise you just forget where the link ever came from. And ideally the link does not have a version, but sometimes it's not too easy to not have versions because you're gonna start to overwrite stuff. But if you have multiple link versions, then also things can start to break. But just so you've heard it, linking is also getting too deep into the game. Render. So what is a render called? Here we copy our name out because that's exactly what a render is going to be called. We always render animations in JPEGs. So basically we usually have a folder just OO or O1 for animations or stills. And this is basically just the versions of the deliveries. And in here we would have the file like this. Wait a moment. So here we would have this file, but it's not called blend. It would be called JPEG. So this would be one version of the cup. You could give it a name, maybe like concept. It's not that important. Just so there's something, yeah, that you kind of know about this image. If it's a certain version of it, the alternative, we call it O1. But we will repeat this naming convention. So if there's a new delivery of the same images, we will repeat the same namings, but not overwrite them. We'll put them in O2 every time something changes into the next folder. So next, how are we going to send this? We have this O2 folder. We're going to go into out, copy it in. So basically out is a copy of render of things we're going to deliver. We will zip this file. I usually use 7-zip, but wait, why can't I zip in general? Doesn't matter, we're just gonna use this for now. Okay, it doesn't work, perfect. Okay, it did work, no, it didn't work. Okay, we go back to, oh, god damn it. I'm gonna go to 7-zip, compress to this, or does it not work because it's empty? No, it did work. Okay, now important, we will not send the client a O2 folder. Now it's getting complicated, but it's actually not. It is the year 2022, yes. It is the month October, so 10. It is the day, today, 20. So that's the code, because that will sort all deliveries. Underscore Damien Matthew, as you know it. Yeah, and here, yeah, just coffee cup, whatever the project is called. Yeah, you could do it like this if you want. But you could also call it concepts if these are just the concepts, you know. This would be the delivery. So next delivery later, if I send something again, even though it's maybe then it would be like 21. So tomorrow I send something would be this package. So this way it's Very easy to track back when what was sent, what version. Archive everything, don't delete anything ever. Another good point on not deleting anything, because I know a lot of people of you say, I don't have storage, I don't have this, I don't have that. It doesn't matter. You should be using a cloud-based driver. So you can't see it here, but we use Google Stream. I don't know if it's the best solution. I know a lot of people use Dropbox and probably many other fancy stuff or have local servers as well. I don't have a local server. Probably also a pretty good solution, to be honest. But yeah, I use Google Stream because when I'm in Greece, when I'm wherever the fuck I am all the time, I can access the folders anytime. Like recently, I was on a meeting in Hamburg. I could access everything from my phone, which is very nice to show renderings. So it's important to be able to access everything anytime. If we have a new freelancer or something, I can give him access to the folder and he can then access all the files. If he works in that folder, saves stuff in that folder, it automatically updates for everyone in the team. That's very important. So yeah, don't work locally because you'll lose the files then. Again, I used to work on hard drives, very bad idea. Work in a public online cloud. It costs money, but if you work professionally, you should be earning at least that, and then it will work out. So that's it. I know, pretty boring video, but if you watched it until here, your professional life, will start now. You'll learn a lot. Just follow the steps. So it looked way more complicated than it is. Let's review it again. Company, work, the year, the client, keep a template folder. In here you have in, Blender, render, out. Everything into in that comes in, everything out that goes to the client, in Blender, render. Maybe one last thing, so sometimes we work in Spark AR. I just do a folder like this. I know it's behind out. If you want, change the numbers. I'm actually usually lazy. That's Spark AR, then it's just 04 because it's so deep in my head that out is number 3. But you could also, move this so out is always on the bottom. Or you could also have a folder called resolve, for editing. You can do this if you want. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes not. Or sometimes we have photos. So like ArcViz, we sometimes take photos. I sometimes call it photo. Stuff like that. That's it for today. Hope you learned something. And see you next time.